listening to the All Metal Mode podcast. Sit back and enjoy the shenanigans of Mike and Sue as they discuss all aspects of metal detecting and everything else treasure related. For those of you who play the How Many Times Will Mike Say Relic Machine game, grab a beverage of your choosing and have responsible fun. We hope you enjoy the show.
Well, hello everybody, this is Mike and you're listening to the All Metal Mode podcast. And tonight Matt will be joining us again. We have Skype all figured out and we will also be taking calls. So glad to be back to normal here and have everything going good. And yeah, good times. So I don't know if you guys saw it on, I saw it on Facebook. Predator Tools has a new shovel out. They might have a couple. I didn't get a chance to look, although I did see one. Looks like it'd be great, like a trench tool. Very cool. It's how do you describe it? The blade is 90 from the handle. A very cool looking shovel. And check them out, all American made. They're not some big company. George Still heat treats every single one himself. He builds every one of them himself as well. You know, I think a lot of people think it's a big company and everything, and no, it's just George. So check out PredatorTools.com. They have awesome tools. Give them a call. Pam is great. That's his wife. She works there, and George Jr. And I'm not sure what George is up to. I know he's had some like sinus issues and stuff. I think he does both. He's in the shop and does shipping and all that kind of stuff. But give them a call if you want the best tools. I'm telling you, nothing I've ever used, seen will hold up like a Predator tool, like shovels and diggers from Predator Tools. Okay, so tonight we're going to do something probably a little controversial, probably something a little bit crazy. I've actually wanted to do this show for a long time. And I've thought, it's kind of too touchy. It's a little, I don't want to create drama. I don't want any issues. But on the other hand, it's been in the back of my mind forever. And just recently, one of our listeners brought it up and said, you know, you ought to do a show on this. So you guys know me. I'm like, well, what the heck? Let's do it. Hey, whatever. Let's do it. So tonight we're going to talk about dealers, drama, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm not going to be specific. I'm not going to throw any dealer under the bus or anything, but I'll give you the ins and outs of the business and what it's like. And, you know, I'm really going to try to keep it separated from what I do. You guys, I mean, any of my listeners, longtime listeners, know that I sell detectors, through Digger's Den. And a lot of what I'm going to tell you is from past experience when I was a dealer, when I owned my own shop. And, like I said, I'm going to try to keep it, you know, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't want to cause any issues, but I'm going to get into some stuff and I'll tell you what it's about, what it's like. And, you know, I would say definitely if you're new to the hobby, you're thinking about buying a detector, you're thinking about buying a new detector or another detector, you might want to pay attention. And I'm also hoping to have callers. If you got any questions, the number is 682-459-2977. If you at any time want to call in, I think we're good on Skype now. I think I can take call-ins with no issues. And if you got questions, I'm going to answer everything I can to the best of my ability, and we will do that. I hope this show goes good. I'm a little bit concerned. I know it can be a little bit rough, but we're going to do it. And if you got questions and you don't want to call in, join the chat. And from your phone, I think both from the phone or if you're on your computer, when you click on the show, the bottom right, there should be like a little bar and there'll be like a little cloud. Click on that cloud and that'll take you into chat. And we can do that. So let's get started. Matt, you with us?
I sure am.
All right, man. I'm glad you were so quiet. I was a little concerned. I'm like, oh, crap.
I'm just sitting here laughing to myself.
Why?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm hoping for some drama, man. I like drama.
Right. Well, I don't want to badmouth anybody or any dealers like that and stuff like that. So...
Well, and it's interesting you said that for this show too, because when you told me that, I was thinking to myself, well, that's kind of cool because in the back of my mind for years, I've always thought, man, it would be pretty cool to be deal in metal detectors and sell some stuff, but yeah, I don't know. After hearing some of your stories, yeah, I'm sure it's got its ups and downs and good points, but yeah, there's some good stuff and funny stories that you told me over the times here.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that hopefully we'll cover tonight, and I'm hoping we have some people call in and have questions or want answers on certain things, and I will do the best I can to answer it, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little bit nervous about this show. I don't want anything to get crazy or anything, but so one of the things that was brought up in a conversation was, dealer drama. Why do some of the dealers not like each other and different things like that? Why is there drama? And that's pretty simple. I mean, you're always going to have competition, and that can drive you a little bit crazy, but what I would say is when I was a dealer, had my own shop, what used to aggravate me was a couple things. The first one was, I'm not going to say names, the big company. And, I'd see somebody who bought an E-Track and for free they got this waterproof detector and this pinpointer and this hand digger and this fake doubloon, I don't know if it still was, and a plastic magnifying glass, let's say. And for example, one time I had a guy who wanted an E-Track, and he was going to buy from that big company because they were going to throw all that stuff in. And let me first say this, that big company, some of the stuff they have made, and it's junk. Some of it is literally junk. I know somebody who did that. They got an actual, they bought their E-Track, and it came with a free waterproof detector and all this stuff. The digger broke on the first time out. It's a plastic digger. The waterproof detector, they ended up throwing it away. It was no good. And that aggravates me. That didn't aggravate me so much for losing the sale. It aggravated me that company would do things like that. I had a guy contact me years ago, and he said, hey, I wanted, I'd like to buy local, but this big company is throwing all this in. And he said, can you do anything? Can you get close? When I added everything up and did it, he was going to get a second name brand detector, a good Lesh hand digger, much better quality stuff, and I ended up saving him something like $50. And that's my point. Look, I don't care. I'm not here to trash that big company, but at the same time, I don't like how they do that stuff. It's not, it's, you know what I mean? Is that bad or what I'm trying to say?
No. I mean, I think I understand what you're saying, and it for me, and look, I'm in sales too. My job at work, I cover a few different areas in the Northeast, and I see the same kind of stuff all the time. If I lose the sale, that's fine. It is what it is. People are free to make their own decisions. However, when it's for reasons where somebody's basically giving you junk or stuff that they know is not the same quality. They know it's not great equipment, but
right.
they're throwing some extra stuff in just to try and sweeten the pot and the deal. And I'm not saying that's bad, but once again, by the same token, if you'd research it and you'd say, oh, well, yeah, that stuff's really worth nothing anyhow. So what am I really getting? In addition, I don't know. I see it a lot of times.
Yeah, I hate this game. I have, everybody has their faults. Believe me, I'm not perfect, but I'm straightforward, honest, here's the deal kind of person. And I hate that. I'll never forget one time, that time that I was putting a price together for that person and seeing what all they threw in. And one of the things they were throwing in was a pair of headphones valued at $70 some. They say, oh, buy this $1,200, this $1,000 detector, and we're throwing $700 in, $700 in extras. If you think there's that much markup in metal detectors, you're crazy. It's not going to happen, guys. And how they get there is I remember, looking, and a pair of headphones that I could get through my distributor for, I think it was $12, they were saying were like $79 headphones. And I hate that shady side of it. To me, that's kind of being shady. That's just, it's not fair to mark stuff up like that and make people feel like, excuse me, they're getting such a crazy deal and everything when they're not. I mean, a lot of what they throw in is junk. Now, I've seen dealers in the past, and I haven't seen it in a while, who will throw in some really nice stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a little bit different. But, some of these companies are throwing absolute junk at you, and you'd be way better off with a dealer that would make it up with some really good stuff. And believe me, there's dealers out there like that. So another problem that I ran into that would really aggravate me is I had a Garrett. I'm trying to be really careful what I say. I don't want any of the manufacturers to contact me. I don't want any of the manufacturers to contact Brian. I don't want to upset anybody. There was a dealer in Ohio that carried a specific brand, and he was at the time, I don't even think he's in business anymore. I think I can say this. I couldn't sell an AT Pro local in Ohio because he was selling them at cost plus like 10, 15. He might make 10, 15, maybe $20 tops, depending on shipping. And I would get people calling me all the time in Ohio, hey, what can you do on an AT Pro? And I'd give them a price, and they would say, well, I can get it from so-and-so for this. And I would just kind of chuckle to myself like, my God, that's my cost. I can't, I'm not in the business to give stuff away free. And something you got to understand, there's not a lot of markup in metal. Believe me, there's no dealer getting rich by being honest and doing you right. And even high volume, it's tough to make money doing this. It is. You really got to love it, as far as I'm concerned. So that really hurt my business. I couldn't sell an AT Pro locally. Not with a guy, and the thing is, I'm not gonna, when you have somebody like that, okay, so let's say I sell you a detector and let's just say I make $20. I'm the guy who will take your call all the time or call you back, walk you through setup, explain the detector to you, or if you're local, I'll take you out. I've always done that, and I'll still do that. If you're local, I'll take you out and show you how to use the detector. I'll get out with you and use it. So I've got my time in that. It's worth something. I'm not trying to get rich. I wasn't trying to get rich then, but my time is worth something, and nobody's in the business to do it for free. But he was out there. He was doing that. And why he was doing that, I have no clue. Maybe trying to make I know some dealers in the past have done that. They'll give stuff away to get a name, and then they raise their prices up. But I don't think that's real fair either. And it hurts other dealers. I wish things could be more fair. Bill just said more money in dealing with used detectors. You're right. Absolutely. If you can pick them up cheap and sell them and make some money, that's the way to do it. David says, but Mike, I live in California. Look, I don't know every detector, and I don't know gold detectors at all. It's not what I've done. I've not lived in a place to learn, but I have. When I was a dealer, and even now, I make it a point to try to get my hands on everything that we sell. Now, what's really nice about teaming up with Brian is there's some detectors he hasn't got his hands on that I can speak very fluently about. And then vice versa. I haven't had my hands on an AT Max. I haven't had my hands on a Equinox yet. And he can talk about those. He can tell you about them. He's like me, and he is why I hooked up. That is why I hooked up with Digger's Den and him, because he's hardworking. Customer service is very important to him, and he'll get his hands on the detector, and he detects. That guy's out detecting quite often, and that's a big thing to me, and that's something else I wanted to talk about. When I moved to Texas, I hadn't been a dealer for a short time. I kind of left everything in Ohio. I had some bad experiences with some people. I got away from it all. Now, when I shut down, I didn't burn any bridges. All my bills were paid. I did it the right way. Matter of fact, I could have become a dealer again, with no buy-in. And I just didn't want to go that route. I didn't want to have all the headaches and stuff. I wanted to team up with somebody who was multi-line dealer, and looking for a dealer to hook up with and sell detectors was such an eye-opening experience for me. I talked to dealers that don't metal detect. I talked to dealers who, in talking about working with them, a couple dealers that came up, hey, I might buy 10 of these and I need you to push them. I'm not that kind of sales guy. I'm not a salesman to begin with. I'm a person who's passionate about metal detecting. I can sell metal detectors because I love them, and I love talking to people in metal detecting. And so if you want me to push a certain detector because you bought 10 of them or 20 of them at a great price, I'm not the guy. And I was just really surprised, Matt, at how many dealers were. It was strictly about the money. It wasn't about anything to do with customer service. It was about making money. And
Oh, I believe that
yeah, it was really
all
surprising.
day long.
There were several dealers that I just, yeah, this wouldn't be a good fit. Um, I talked to one guy I liked a lot. Um, I'm trying to read what's going on in the chat, trying to keep up in case there's any questions, but I think they're just making fun of me or something.
Well,
I'm
that's
not
not
sure.
hard.
Yeah, right. But one guy I talked to, and I even liked him, real nice guy to talk to, but he didn't even detect himself. And it's like, man, what are you doing selling I didn't say it, but in my head it's like, what are you doing selling detectors? How can you sell a detector and give good customer
Proper
support?
advice and instruction
Yeah.
on how to use the machine, and you can't. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean, you can only do so much research on something, but with shy of actually going out, putting it in your hands, and testing it yourself, and trying different things. I mean, I don't know. I find that hard in line of business. If you don't know the product, you don't know the product. So then you're relying on your talking skills and to basically do the job for you. Which, I'm the same as you, Mike. I've told people before, hey, look, I'm not going to come in here. I don't always have the cheapest product, but I'm not a car salesman, and I'm not going to sell you something so that I make money. If it ain't
Yeah.
the right product, I don't want you to buy it. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm like in the middle of a sneezing fit. Jeez, I had to. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and well, I'll tell you something that just happened last week. I had a guy get a hold of me and wanting to see what we had, and on Amazon, he was getting 2 waterproof detectors, 2 sand scoops, 2 hand diggers, and 2 pinpointers for like under $250. And you know, I am honest to a fault, and I'm like, look, that's not gonna work. I don't even know what it is, but there's nothing out there that you're gonna get 2 detectors, 2 sand scoops, 2 hand diggers, 2 pinpointers for under $250. It's gonna be worth a darn. And he didn't want to hear it, and I get that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say, "Oh yeah, it's the best thing in the world." Just like if you call me and you want this detector, and I find out where you live, what your ground conditions are like, and where you're hunting, what kind of hunting you're wanting to do, and I think I can get you in something better or cheaper, I'm going to tell you that. Now, I'll sell you what you want, but I couldn't tell you how many times I've found a better solution. And I'll give you a really good example. This one just is my favorite. When I was a dealer in Ohio, I had a guy call me up. He wanted an E-Track. And that's pretty much how the conversation started. Hi, Mike, I'm on your forum and I'd like to buy an E-Track off of you. And I said, and I'm glad I asked. I said, what are you looking to do? And he said, well, I take my kids to the park almost every day. And while they're playing, I want to search around and see if I can find some coins and stuff. And are you into history? Are you looking for old coins? No, just coins laying around, the tot lots and stuff while we're there. And he's not going to go out by himself. He's not going to go to old home sites. He's not going to old schools. He's just looking for regular old coins. And I said, look, I'd be more than happy to sell you an E-Track, but you need to spend about $200 for what you're wanting to do. A $200 detector will do what you want it to do. And I ended up selling him I don't even remember now, but a low end detector. Low price range, because you don't need an E-Track for that. So I used to do that a lot. I used to get calls for, there's a manufacturer that has a detector still for sale. You can buy it new, that's well over 20 years old. I don't know what kind of advertising they used to do, but I used to get calls for it all the time. And I would say, again, look, I'd be more than happy to sell it to you. But I can get you in something much better for a third of the cost. I mean, it's old technology. I know they still offer it. And believe it or not, it's still out there. It is still... Well, I'm not positive. I know up until recently it was. I got to look now. But it was still being offered, and it's well over 20 years old. And bear with me. I got to do this. Sorry, guys. Talk, Matt. Come on, say something.
I want to say something.
He fell asleep.
No, I want to. The on your headphones, does the shielding in that cable wire that runs from the one earpiece to the other earpiece, is that shielding critical? Let's just say that somebody was out metal detecting, and then they're stupid in that they forgot that they accidentally broke their headphone bracket the day before, and they got out to where they were going, and they said, "Oh, poop. I got broken headphones." And after trying to hold it with their shoulder for 20 minutes, they said, "All right, this just isn't working." Tried everything. Maybe this person even rigged a string up to it and tried some different stuff. And then they said, screw it. I'm just going to cut the one wire so that there's only one earpiece hanging on the headphone, because I know that they would work. So let's just, or some guy said this to me, okay? So I'm not mentioning any names.
Right, Matt.
So, but
Matt Hoffman.
And this guy's thought was, when he goes home, he'll just place the wires back together. But now he sees that there's shielding in there, and he doesn't know if that's going to make a difference, if he should waste his time splicing it back together, if the shielding actually makes any difference, or if it'll pick up interference.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
Or you could just box them up. He'll be fine. Or you could just have him box them up and send them back to me, and I would fix them. Real quick, Gavin McGregor. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, my buddy's like, "You better not cut that. That might not make the whole thing not work." I was like, "Well, at this point, I can't detect anyhow. So if I cut it and it doesn't work, I'm no far off than where I started."
No, you should be. But did you shorten it?
No.
You shortened the crossover wire?
No. No, there's plenty of wire left there, so I'm good.
Okay, you mean he's good?
Oh yeah, did I say me? I meant he's good.
Gavin asked, how do waterproof detectors handle, I'm guessing you're like mineralized sand. Gavin, I am not a technical guy. I don't have the answer to that. Do you, Matt?
I got an answer for that, actually.
Do it.
That's all depends on the detector itself. There's a handful of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's water. You take the AT Pro. It's a waterproof machine, but if you got mineralized sand, I can't see it working that well.
Yeah,
it's a great machine, but
Gavin, from what I know, I'm sorry. From what I know, Gavin, most waterproof detectors do not work good and mineralized sand. What most guys use is PI machines, pulse induction, and mineralized sand, which is they're deep, but there's really no discrimination, and that's the downfall to them. But they go deep, they handle the mineralized sand. I know that the Minelab Excalibur handles it fairly well, right, Matt? I'm not a water guy. I'm not a gold guy.
Excalibur, yes. That seems to work really well from everything I've read and seen on that machine. And like I said, it's like anything. Mineralized sand is tricky to start with. There's a lot of machines that just aren't going to do great in any mineralized dirt, sand, or whatever you got. It doesn't, but pulse induction is, pulse induction are great. It doesn't affect, a lot of mineralized stuff doesn't affect those so much, but then again, you can't discriminate. So, they have their specific range of application where they really could perform and excel, but it depends, once again, it's all back to application. You say mineralized sand, but in waterproof, what are you looking to do and where are you looking to go? And once you narrow that down, then you can get the real answers to what machines make sense for something like that.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys that use the X-Cal. I've heard that CTX got popular for hunting mineralized beaches like the ocean. I know that's when it came out. I knew some guys, but I don't know if that's still real popular like that or not. But yeah, pulse induction's your best from what I know. I know a lot of guys. He says have a few mineral springs here that are old swimming holes. Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Wow.
You might get in there and try with just a regular detector, Gavin. Have you tried with just a regular metal detector? I know a lot of people like the Tesoro. I always get the Sand Shark and the Tiger Shark mixed up. One of them's PI, one of them is a regular what do you call it? Single frequency
VLF.
detector. Yeah, VLF. They love that VLF one for freshwater lakes and stuff. I mean, I've heard so many good things about it, so it's kind of. He says Racer 2. Okay, Sand Shark's the PI one, so the Tiger Shark is the VLF detector. I know the VLF is a really a lot of guys like that for freshwater beaches and stuff and freshwater. John says the Sand Shark is awesome. Yeah, they're both great. I've used both of them. Unfortunately, here in Texas, the Sand Shark is not good on my beaches because my here in Texas the beaches are gravel. They're not sand, so stuff doesn't get deep, and that Sand Shark will go deep. But a PI would be good on cleaner beaches, and freshwater because they go so deep, and stuff sinks in the sand so quick.
Yeah, pulse induction is always, that's the one major advantage of pulse induction is deep, as you can pull some really deep stuff. But then again,
deep and works good mineralization. Yeah,
and it works good in heavier mineralization because it's because of the way that it's pulse. Well, I don't have time to get into pulse induction versus VLF, but if you read how they actually operate, which I read not too long ago, maybe a year ago or so, and did a lot of research on that. And it's just really completely different in what's happening with as the signal comes back from the coil, out from the coil and back, as to how that's being transmitted and received. So, yeah, it doesn't let a lot of mineralization really screw with it. But then again, if they could make a pulse induction detector that could discriminate, man, someone needs to come out with that. I'm on board 100%.
Right, the depth they're getting out of those PI machines. Gavin, I would say take one of your VLFs. I mean, all the coils now are waterproof. I don't think anybody has a coil out there that's not waterproof. I would take it out there and get in a couple feet and see how it handles it. You might be fine with just a VLF detector.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You may even find that a standard VLF detector can weed through a lot of it, and even though it's heavy mineralization, you might be able to do quite well with just a standard detector. And then, maybe you're not going to get everything, and maybe there's areas that are worse than some, but for sure, if you got something sitting around, it's definitely worth a try to see what its capabilities are, and it'll give you a baseline of where you're at and where you need to be.
Yep. So back on track here a little bit. That detector is still available to purchase new. The manufacturer still has it, and that's what I'm getting at. I've never felt bad for telling people, hey, I especially people new to the hobby that don't. There were times I would say, hey, have you thought about this detector? It's, half the price. No, I want this. And okay, I'll sell you that. If somebody has their heart set on that, and once my conscience is clear, I'm okay with it. But I will always, if I think there's a better application for you, I'll tell you. Or, a lot of times, I couldn't tell you how many times people would want to get in the hobby. They would want to go find silver and relics and this and that. And, to get there in Ohio, you need to go deep. And they'd want to spend $200. And I would tell them, hey, I'd be more than happy to sell you a $200 detector, but it's not going to do what you want it to do. Save up and buy something like this or this, and a lot of times they would, or they would buy that $200 detector, and a year later they would be back again. But at least I always tried to do everything to where my conscience was clear. You know what I mean? I didn't want to sell somebody, yeah, sure, I got a $200 detector, I'll sell you. And they come back, a few months later and say, hey, I'm not finding any of that stuff. Like, why didn't you tell me I needed something better, or, something like that. So I always tried to let people know what I thought was best, and a lot of times of course they already had it. They'd done their research, and this is what they wanted, like we were talking about when Tim Jondervan, is that how you say
it? Come on. Let's have a quick lesson.
Okay.
It's not gene driven, it's gender-driven.
Yeah, that's what I said, right?
You said John. I don't know what you just said, but it sounded like John Dervon, something along. I'm not sure if you said John Claude Van Damme or exactly what you just said, but let's one more time for the record. We're going to say genderman.
Okay, I got
Hopefully, I got it right.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyhow, when he bought his E-Track off me, he called me up. He's like, "Hi, Mike. My name's Tim. I want an E-Track." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay." And I did the little spiel about, well, why do you want an E-Track? And he told me why, and I said, "Yep, you do. That'll be perfect." So a lot of people would call and they'd know what they want and they'd hit it on the head. But it definitely, people new to the hobby sometimes, they need help, and that's what I do. And that's going to get me into the next thing. Look, I would love to be on the phone day and night selling metal detectors. I'm not going to lie. But let me tell you what you want to look for in a dealer. And I will say this, if you can find a local dealer to you that is good, by all means seek out that local dealer. The problem is There's not a lot of dealers around. They're so spread out throughout the country. Not many people live close to their dealer or a dealer. Make sure that dealer is doing you right. Obviously, price. You know, there at one time he's no longer in business. There was a dealer that was selling at retail. So back when, don't hold me to the price. I think map was like 14 something for an E-Track, and I just say that because I used to sell a lot of E-Tracks. He was selling them for something like $1,600, which was full retail. I'm going to say don't go full retail unless you just are that loyal and that's what you want to do, but trust me, you can get it cheaper. I would highly suggest finding a dealer who metal detects. I think that's important. I don't think you gotta, in every situation, you gotta use what you sell. But I think it's very important in metal detecting. How are you going to buy a detector from a dealer, have some issues or questions, and you can't call them up and ask them because they don't metal detect? So you want somebody that not only metal detects but uses different detectors. When I was a dealer, for the biggest part, about the only thing what I used on a daily basis was an E-Track at the time. But I learned Fisher's, Garrett's, other Mine Labs, Tesoro's. When I picked up Tesoro, I mean, I would at least put some serious hours on them so my customers who bought those I could at least give them some information and some help, and I could show them how to set them up and use them and stuff. And I think that's really important. And it just blows my mind how many dealers out there don't even detect. Or, I was talking to one dealer, I sensed that he didn't detect by some of the things when I was looking to work for a dealer like I am now, before I met Brian. And I sensed he didn't detect. And I asked him if he did, and he said, well, I used to. And that was a BS answer, I suspect, because he didn't know what he was talking about. And don't buy from somebody like that. I would suggest not buying from somebody like that, because if you need help, let's say you think you've got an issue with the detector. Let's say you think you might have a coil issue, or you've got a detecting, something's wrong with the detector. You can call him, you should be able to call that guy up and say, hey, the detector's doing this. Is something wrong with it? Yeah, that shouldn't be doing that. Or no, it's fine. You need to do this. You need to make these adjustments. You need to do that. And you can't do that with somebody that doesn't detect. And what brings that up is kind of funny. One of the guys that I talk to, the dealers that I know doesn't detect, I just seen somebody recently post that, hey, if you want a detector from a great person, buy it from this person. And I just thought, man, that's not who, you know what I mean? That's not somebody I would suggest. Hey, I'm not saying buy it from me. I'd love for you to, but look for these things in a dealer. If you call about you want an AT Max, and they're trying to push another detector off on you, and being pushy about it and stuff, that guy's got 10 of them in stock, and he's working really hard to move that. He does not have your best interest at heart. I would stay away from that guy. Like I said, I will suggest something if I think it's better, but it is never based on our stock. Matter of fact, I rarely do I know anything that Brian has in stock. I from time to time, if somebody's interested in something, I'll ask him, and that's about it. I don't know. That doesn't matter. That's not going to determine what I'm trying to sell you. I'm going to try to sell you what's best for you. And oftentimes that, I would say 50% of the time, it's something cheaper. I'm not going to try to push you into something more expensive if I don't think you need it. But, if you call me and you want to spend $200 and you want something that works really good in iron and you're looking for deep coins, and in your area they're deep, I'm going to tell you a $200 machine's probably not going to cut it. I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm not going to try to do anything hokey. And look for a dealer like that. That's the kind of guy you want, or woman. That's the kind of person you want to buy from. And yeah, good times. I don't know if anybody I need to. Gypsy said I can't stand a pushy salesperson. Gypsy, I was never a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. Like I said, I love the hobby. And but yeah, it happens, Gypsy. It's kind of surprising to me. I didn't know that until I started looking to work for a dealer, that there's dealers out there that are pushing hardcore for you to sell this, and it's like, that's not for me.
And there's a real big difference between a salesperson and someone passionate about what they're doing. And like I said, and even in my own profession, I told a guy one time that I said I could sell you a product that will work, but I know of a better product from another manufacturer. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I want to sell my product? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, if that guy's not completely satisfied that, with what he gets from me, then it doesn't do me no good, because he don't come back in the long run. So it's a lose-lose at that point. So, there's a lot of expectations, obviously, you have from a dealer, or at least people should, and they say, oh, well, I could go on YouTube and watch videos, but I don't know. And I do that a lot too on a lot of different stuff. But you should, if someone's a qualified dealer and they're selling the product, they should be able to answer those questions for you and be more than happy and willing to do that.
Exactly. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of that going on. And well, there's some good dealers out there. I've heard of some good dealers, and that metal detect and everything else. But, I think, it's really cutthroat. It's a really tough business to be in. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to get back into it. I didn't want to become a dealer again and take on all the responsibilities. And like I said, it was just surprising to me how many people, how many people I talk to that really don't metal detect, or they don't metal detect, and hey, we want you, you'll have to push this, or you'll have to do that. Hey, I've got, and I'll tell you something, some people are really turned off on buying something from a dealer that doesn't have a shop. Okay? And if you want to go try a detector out first, I understand that. But what I found talking to brick and mortar stores, and I'm not saying that they have bad prices, I'm not saying they're the ones who are more than likely going to try to push something off on you. If they've got $1,000 a month rent and they've got 4 detectors that have been sitting around for a month, they're gonna push that. And I know some of that has gone on. And I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying, and I'm not saying buy from somebody that doesn't have a storefront. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I never had a storefront, did a heck of a business. Although I didn't have a storefront, that meant if you came to me on a Tuesday afternoon or middle of the day, I could lock my door at the house and go take you out all afternoon in metal detecting. I definitely wouldn't say you got to buy from a storefront. Now, if you want to get your hands on something first and test it, um, so that's. But other than that, I wouldn't let that discourage you at all. That dealer working out of his home, he probably doesn't. He's got stock that he probably wants to move. Yeah, but it's not critical. Where you get and what brings this up, somebody was recently telling me this, that their dealer they really liked kind of got too many detectors in stock, couldn't move them, and was really pushing them and trying to push this person, their longtime customer, into buying something that wouldn't work for them, and it really upset them. And there's nothing wrong with having a storefront, don't get me wrong, but so much is done online and stuff anymore. I sure wouldn't let that affect you. That's my personal opinion. You can chime in, Matt. I'm tired of talking. Greg?
I could chime in anytime. In fact, I got some questions for you about being a dealer.
What's that?
Mikey, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I hear you. I just wasn't listening to you.
Gotcha.
Around. No, I want to bring up something too. And I got my own stories. When I first was, I had detected a long time ago cheap Radio Shack special growing up as a kid, and I've told that story before. But anyhow, number of years back, it's been 7, 8, 9 years. I don't know how long it was now, but whenever those whenever the AT Pros first came out, when those were just flying off the shelves, and I started looking for some stuff, and I found some sites online, and I thought, wow, these are pretty cool, but man, I don't know. And then I came across a big box store. I'm not going to say any names. And I ended up purchasing from them, and I said, well, they got a storefront, they have a place, it feels legit to me, good to go. And so, and I got that, and I was happy, although I got a bunch of random clutter, aka junk that came with the detector. But nevertheless, and then, when I was searching out and seeking to pick me up a E-Track, I came across another website, and I said, wow, I mean, this almost seems too good to be true. Like, not only does he have what I want, but supposedly this website, they're going to throw in some actual worthwhile stuff. And I thought to myself, yeah, I better call this big box store. So I called him, and I said, oh, yeah, I've seen this on so-and-so site. And he goes, man, you're going to throw me up against the wall for that guy? And I said, hey, man, look, who can give me the best service? Who's willing to talk to me? Who can help answer all my questions? And, I said, already I talked to this guy, and he took time right out of the middle of his day to take time and discuss different things and options. And he actually even said, hey, I got a used one here if you want to try that, see if you like it, instead of, jumping straight into a brand new one. So, that in my mind sealed the deal for me at that point in time. Like, hey, these guys, he's willing to help me, willing to, because I was really tossing back and forth at that time between the V3i and the White Beast V3i and that E-Track, and he laid it all out clear, clear as day, and said, I'll sell you whatever you want. Here's my recommendations based on what you're telling me, and this and that and the other. And, I think I ended up talking to him for like an hour that day, just going over some different stuff. And I said, this is perfect. You have what I want. You're willing to discuss the stuff. You obviously use the machines. You know the machines, and you can make recommendations based on that. That to me was worth, a lot, especially being still relatively new to the newer stuff that was out at the time. So, I really enjoy that. And, and a lot of people, and like I said, people go, okay, well, I could watch YouTube videos, this, that, and the other, but to have the knowledge from someone who, clearly has used the stuff, knows the stuff, and to him, it didn't matter what he wasn't trying to push anything on me. He said, "You tell me what you want. I'll tell you based on what you're telling me what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, and then try and clarify this for you. And you make your own decisions. That's on you or on me, And that for me personally, that goes a long way because I don't like people trying to really push something on you and steer you a different direction, especially when you don't know their ulterior motive, which is likely that they got a stockpile of them sitting around and they need to get rid of them.
Yeah. It's funny because as a detectorist, I would say, man, that's a great, I know who you're talking about. I remember this. Yeah. And I would say, wow, that's a great dealer. And he is. That doesn't mean he's not a good dealer. Now, from a dealer standpoint, let me tell you what I hate about that guy. When I was a dealer in Ohio and he was starting out, I couldn't tell you how much business I lost to him because that guy was selling detectors for nothing. He would lose money on a sale to keep you from getting it. And so, if you know a dealer and you like them, but they're not fond of another dealer, I'm not going to be outspoken about anybody. But you got to understand there's, different sides of it. I mean, me personally, I would, I want nothing to do with that guy. I can't stand him. He's one of the people, he came into selling hot and heavy. He broke every rule in the book. He skated through by the manufacturers because he was selling so many. And he got to where he was by selling for nothing. Literally would beat other dealers up on prices so hard. It was unreal. I mean, there was literally, I had a guy and he said, I can get it for this much. And I said, I don't even know how that's possible. That's below cost. That's below my cost. And he said, he goes, I knew it was cheap. I'm local to Ohio. I wanted to see, if you had it first, or see if you could. And I said, man, I can't touch that. I'm not going to lose money to make a sale. And you have these guys that now he's not doing that anymore, but no. to gain
and let me say this too, from my perspective, from the outside, I'm not a dealer. I never was a dealer. I just, like I said, when I found him, not only did he have answers, he took time to spend with me. And no, I'm not saying at the time maybe he was really getting crazy on his prices and really undercutting. And there's some companies like you take, I think John Deere still does it. Like they have like a set price for their equipment. Like, okay, so like to drop, if you're going to try and come in and sell stuff dirt cheap, like you can't if you're a dealer. Like it's got these minimums that it's got to meet, like, and so it'd be kind of cool if there was something like that set up with some of the different metal detecting manufacturers. So,
there is, but how are they gonna to follow every single dealer?
Well,
and
yeah,
then,
you can't. It's tough to enforce.
And then there's some gray areas there.
Well, and that's the other thing too, Mike. You got a guy that's just selling them left and right. You're going to turn a blind eye to that. If they're breaking a few rules here and there, well, hey, they're selling all these detectors. Who really cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there are two sides of it. There's some dealers out there that are probably good dealers, but from my viewpoint, I can't stand them because how they do business, and they do hurt. Gypsy said, no need to lose money to gain customers. It hurts everyone in the long run. It does, Gypsy. You're absolutely right. And it's not fair to the dealers that are established and, they are offering good customer service to their people and stuff. And that's, if I'm going to criticize the manufacturers, I don't even know if I can criticize the manufacturers. I maybe it's the distributors, but maybe it's the manufacturers. Anybody can become a dealer. And there's a lot of dealers out there that probably shouldn't be dealers. I wish that it was a little bit tougher to become a dealer, because in all reality, it doesn't take much to become a dealer. Now, on the other hand, it is tough to be a dealer. It is hard to get started. It is tough out there. There's so many well-established dealers. It is very tough, but they'll let anybody. It seems like just anybody can. Hey, I want to become a dealer. Are you this close to where you live? Okay, well, there's nobody. You don't have no dealers within X amount of miles from you. You can become a dealer, and it leads to some people. I know of a guy right now who's a dealer who's been metal detecting for 3 months now. 3 months, roughly 4 months. Look, I don't have anything against the guy. I don't, but he's been metal detecting for absolutely no time at all. How much help can that guy offer if you want to buy a metal detector from him? Look, I want to say this. I started off with, I want to keep this separate from what I do. What I'm saying, if you're in the market for a detector, if you're new to the hobby looking for a detector, if you're not 100% happy with your dealer, look for a dealer who metal detects, who knows different detectors, not just one. They've been detecting a while, and they're not pushy on sales. You don't feel like they're trying to push you towards a detector because they got a bunch in stock and are trying to move stock. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying buy from me. I'm not saying give me a call. Look for that, though. So many times.
And Mike, I want to throw something else in there too. I agree. Obviously, that's to me that's a critical and an important aspect of if you're going to invest a decent amount of money in a machine like that, then obviously to have the support and backup help that you need if you need it. And in a lot of cases, like if I was going to go out and buy another machine right now, I'm pretty sure I'm not, unless it's like, I don't know, maybe a pulse induction machine. But other than that, like I don't need any further assistance, making a decision or figuring it out. But if you don't, getting started, or even if you've been detecting for a while and you're just looking to upgrade and you just need to know more stuff, man, finding the right dealer that can answer those questions and help you out is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, for sure. I've only sold one detector since working with Brian locally, and to a guy I've actually hunted with a couple times, but before he got that detector. And I told him, hey, if he bought an E-Track, and I'm like, man, I can show you the ins and outs of that E-Track. Just let me know. And we'll get together, but he's been busy, and we haven't been able to get together. But I messaged him months after I sold it. Hey, man, I haven't heard from you. When we're going to get together, let me take you out and show you how to use that detector. And nowadays, you really don't need. On one hand, you don't need a dealer with all the YouTube videos and all the groups and stuff sharing all the knowledge. It's definitely not as critical as it was in the past, but a good dealer will still help you, if you have customer service issues, if you have issues with your detector, and having a dealer that'll help you through that and go through the steps and do things for you. I would still personally, I would talk to my dealer, because you can learn a lot from a video. You can learn a lot from the groups and stuff, but if it's a detector I know well, I can tell you the ins and outs of it. I can tell you, okay, that's your problem. That's what happened. Okay, you need to do this. You need to change this setting. You need to do that. And that goes a long way because you don't get that in a lot of the groups.
And that's what's great about that, Mike, is you have application specific and specific instances of, certain things that come up while you're out detecting that you can directly ask, get a response, and get answers to, versus hoping that somebody makes a video about one of the problems or issues you've been having, and under the same type of conditions, and and the odds of finding that are slim. Yeah, there's a million videos out there, but you may be wondering for years, like, oh, I never knew how to do this. If I'd have had someone I could just call and ask or figure it out. And it definitely to me seems to make a lot of sense, and there's no question about it. Though the internet really prevails and rules everything these days with YouTube and all this good stuff, but there's still a lot to be said for having someone that when you need something, especially if you got to deal, if you run into an issue or a problem, that's a major beneficial thing to have a trusted and reliable dealer on hand, so that you can talk to them, and need be, they can help you and potentially help you and deal with the manufacturer and getting your issue resolved. And yeah, that's one thing that I didn't find on the back end of one issue that I had, but never mind that.
Yeah, our hands, as a dealer, your hands are somewhat tied. Sometimes if you have issues, it's almost better for you to contact the manufacturer directly. But I will follow up. I've got a customer right now that's having an issue with a detector, and I've had I helped him along on how to reach out to him, and it was taking too long, and I stepped in and emailed him. You got to be involved. You got to make your customer feel good about, hey, this guy just didn't sell it to me and then he ran. It's just important after the sale to take care of the customer, and look for somebody like that. I mean, you're not going to know that. Well, you're not going to know that when you purchase, but the things that I'm telling you, I think are good and solid. I'm just, again, a dealer that detects, knows different detectors, not just one. He's been in it for a while. And he's not trying to push a specific detector on you. I think that's good, solid advice in getting started and finding a good dealer. And I don't know if there's anything else or anything, but if he does if you've got all that, most likely if you got an issue with your detector, he's got your back.
Mike, I got a question for you.
Okay.
This actually came up the other day when my buddy and I were out detecting. And he said, what happens, let's say you got a bunch of detector XYZ in stock, okay? And they come out with a program update or an update to that detector. Are you then just stuck with all those detectors that are then the old version, or how does that work?
I don't know. I would guess that the manufacturer would probably fix that for you, or I don't know, because I mean, I was never a huge dealer. I didn't have huge stock, and then, we're talking. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since I was a dealer myself, which I didn't carry XP, and so I'm guessing you're talking about like XP.
No, I said company XYZ.
Well,
I'm just saying in general.
But they would fall. I mean, most of them.
There's a prime example of a company that has come out with updates and release updates for their stuff. And if it's something that, or even you take MindLab, where they added the battery seal, the seal for the battery in an update because they found there was issues with them leaking and stuff like that. But which I would assume in the case they would ship those out to the dealers, that had those on stock. But I'm just kind of curious, like I would assume that most manufacturers aren't just going to leave you hanging high and dry and say, oh, well, you got the old version. Sorry, there's nothing we do for you. But then again, I don't know.
Brian might know that. I don't know that. Like I said, I was never in a situation like that. Like the CTX, I mean, you can update it. I don't know. I would guess that they they would take care of it. I mean, I mean, even your bigger brick and mortar, some of the bigger, they probably don't have but a few of those detectors on hand.
Oh
At any
yeah, yeah,
You can get them from
yeah.
the manufacturer or from the distributors so quick. But with that said, that's a lot of times where stuff gets pushed off hardcore. Um, when somebody was telling me about a brick and mortar that had a bunch of AT Pros in stock, hadn't really been moving them, and then the AT Max was announced, so he was really pushing those hardcore and stuff. And but for the most part, I don't think even your bigger stores are going to have a. I mean, like the great big one, they've got them in. Um, they've got probably a pretty significant amount of everything in. I don't know. I'm sure that they take care of it. I'm sure.
Yeah, we were just kind of curious, and I said, man, I'm not sure. I know, in my line of business, like if something like that happens, the manufacturer, we would correct the issue or make the change, obviously, and we would just take care of that. But yeah, I didn't know how some of that works with in the metal detecting world. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming, but I'm also trying to think what's out there that's been updated that would be an issue, because I mean the XP, anybody can plug it in and update it. The CTX, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Well, and I mean, it wasn't even a question that came up specific to anything. It was just more, just curious if there's any situations that ever had come up that where something like that happened. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just I don't know. These are the kind of questions I think about
right.
Taking a drive to do some detecting.
Yeah, I just don't know of anything off the top of my head that could affect anybody. Like anything out there that, you know what I mean, in metal detecting world that would apply. But I mean, there is. I just off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
Tell me, and tell me, I'd like to know too. Like how do the distributors or the distribution, how does that work? I'm assuming you go from the manufacturer to a distributor, and then from the distributors, you purchase your stuff or get your equipment through the distributors.
Mm-hmm.
But do the distributors, are they one brand only? Are they multi-branded? Are they working with a bunch of different companies? Or
there's different I don't know of any of the distributors just carrying one brand, but there's one distributor that carries, I think, just two. A lot of your distributors carry the big ones. Oh no, I take that back. I think the distributor that carries, I'm trying to think if it's okay to talk about this. I don't think it'd be a problem. There's only, let me think, there's two.
Well, I mean, and if you're crossing a line of stuff you can say and don't.
Well, no, I think I'm fine. There's different distributors. There's two distributors.
Well, would you equate it to like how a beer distributor works? Like, you don't go to the Budweiser and buy direct from them. It goes through a beer distributor, and then you have distributors set up, and then they in turn, well, they don't necessarily sell it to a dealer, but they distribute, and but it's slightly different. But I'm assuming but because I mean, like for that matter, like there's a beer distributor not too far from my house, and they, it's where I used to, if you're having a party or something, you need a keg, you go there and you get your kegs, but they had all kinds of different they had a whole pile of different brands of stuff to choose from. So I didn't know if like the distributors and metal detectors are strictly one brand or if they carry multiple stuff for distributing.
What was we talking about? I'm thinking about beer now.
Oh man.
No, there's
Hey, man,
multiple.
You haven't
There's
said Relic Machine yet either.
no. There's different distributors for different things. It's most of them carry a handful of stuff. I mean, or one distributor carries these brands and another distributor carries these, and that kind of, and then like Fisher Technetics. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Fisher Technetics. You go through them. They're not going through a distributor right now. You
So,
go
so if you're the dealer, you're direct to the manufacturer in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
When I became a dealer, Mind Lab didn't have a distributor. They were the distributor. They were the manufacturing distributor, and since then they've gone through a distributor, and it's kind of weird how things change. So, but yeah, there's multiple distributors, and then there's a main distributor for some, like White's has their own. I'm trying to think now because that's split. But like there's a distributor for your area. Like here in Texas, there's a big distributor, and like they carry all the accessories, or there's a lot of distributors. You're not set up with one distributor, especially if you're a multi-line dealer. You're dealing with a few different distributors.
Interesting.
Yep.
No, I was just kind of curious myself.
Yep. I think I probably just made that more confusing. Call-in number is 682-459-2977. If anybody has any questions, anything, you want to talk to me, you want to talk to Matt, you want to tell us what jerks we are, we're fine. Call in. If you got any more questions, if anybody's got any questions, you want to use the chat, please feel free. Bill commented on something. He said drop shipping makes sales easier. It does. When I was a dealer, I loved drop shipping. I could, and at that point, things were real. I mean, I had a lot more sales. I didn't keep much in stock. I did keep some stock. But I kept my stock to a minimum because let's say I wanted to keep an E-Track and a CTX and that in stock, which I would, but I would keep the stuff that moved fast. I'd try to keep as much of that in, but if Joe out on the West Coast wants an E-Track, it was cheaper for me to have it drop shipped from the manufacturer than it is to take the CTX that I've already had shipped to me and paid shipping to turn around and ship to him. So a lot of dealers and most dealers, they rely heavily on drop shipping because we can get it to you from the factory as quick as we can, or from the distributor as we can. We can get it to you just as fast, if not faster, than if we do it ourselves. So yeah, drop shipping's a huge thing, and like Brian, I know he keeps a lot of small stuff on hand. Coils, accessories, shafts, and I know he carries as much of what he can of things that move. But if you want a detector that nobody's been buying the last year or two, chances are you're not going to find that we have it in stock unless it's just a fluke, because there's no sense in keeping stock that's not moving. So drop shipping is a great thing.
Well, yeah, drop shipping makes perfect sense in a lot of cases. And furthermore, I mean, in this day and age, with the relative ease and quickness that you can get stuff sent and delivered to your house, I mean, in fact, I seen a thing the other day. They say that like strip malls and malls in general, the next 10 years they'll be a thing of the past. They won't exist. Pretty much that's with the efficiency of the internet and getting stuff delivered to you. I mean, that's just that's in retail stores in general, or just they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, I don't know, because people still like to go out and actually see it. I mean, especially when you're talking clothes and shoes and things that you want to try on and feel how they fit and all that. I think I agree with that to some extent.
I don't know. I have my doubts that as soon as 10 years that they might dry up, but I don't know. I personally I like to stay out of the stores, because if I go to a store, I'm gonna buy a lot of stuff. I'll end up coming home and say, "Oh, I didn't even get what I needed, but I bought all this other stuff." That's
right.
I try and stay out of them as much as possible. Bad deal for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think we got any. I don't think we got any questions coming in. If anybody has any questions, call. If not, we'll probably be wrapping it up soon.
Yeah, I was trying to get my brother to call in, but he's a new listener to your podcast now.
Oh Lord.
He goes, "Oh, you didn't tell me that you were doing some podcasts with Mike." And I said, "Oh, I thought I mentioned it," but he said he's been listening to him. He's actually, though he's not a metal detectorist by any means, maybe we might get him there someday. I'm hoping, maybe at some point spark his interest. He claims he's going to come visit you one of these days. He only lives maybe an hour from you, hour and a half.
If he's related to you, I'd rather him not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'll make sure. I'll make sure I tell him that to show up just at random someday and just come to your house and bang on your door.
Right.
So I have to tell you something real quick.
Yeah,
it's off subject, but this guy that cut his headphone cord the other day. Let me tell you, it was almost as painful for me. Oh wait, I mean this guy once again. Yeah, I keep forgetting it. Yeah. Anyhow, honestly, it was so hard for me to detect with just one earphone on, and that I was just like, "What squirrel? What?" Just
right.
Oh my golly, it was It was absolutely terrible for me. But I did find a silver ring and a couple wheat pennies and some other stuff. But nevertheless, I was like, man, this just makes me understand and enjoy how much I have. I love those headphones that I got from you, because they just cut my ears so well, and they keep me from being distracted with other noises of just everything else going on around me. And I love those things.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love headphones. I've been working on a headphone article for a while now, and I just haven't finished it up. And I'm weird talking about things I'm involved in, like headphones. I don't want to write like I'm trying to sell my headphones. And I know I brought up myself and Brian a lot tonight, and my intentions are not to.
Your intentions are not to yes,
hey, buy from us. It's no, hey, make sure your dealer's offering you this. I think that's really important, and that's why we wanted to talk about it. And I've wanted to talk about this long before I even hooked up with Brian, and I just thought, man, it's such a touchy subject. I didn't know if I should do it, and I'm just like, well, then to get somebody to ask about it. So, yeah.
You know what you should start doing, Mike?
What's that?
You should start selling. No, not selling. What am I talking? I'm looking at something, thinking something else. No, you should start doing It's complicated. I don't. Never mind. It's complicated.
What are you
I'll
trying?
explain it
Spit
to you
it out.
sometime.
Spit it out, man.
You should do like a. You should do some little like. I could make some really cool stuff. Like you should do some little like. You have someone call in and or somehow do like a little giveaway on some of your podcasts, and I could furnish some cool stuff. I could make them, if they got their own logo or something, or want a picture of themselves with holding the detector on a towel or something silly. I don't know. Yeah, man.
We need to start doing some giveaways here and there.
I think you should. Yeah, I think you should do some giveaways.
I just don't. I don't want to. I don't want to boost our numbers and have people come into the show because we're doing giveaways
Well,
but we could do it now.
Wouldn't tune in just for something like that.
But we need to work on that. I agree. We need to give some stuff away for sure, but not all the time. I just don't want to.
No, just once in a blue moon.
Yep. I'm hoping. Gavin's waiting on detectors from Frank Sanders, last week's guest, who
nice.
does the mods, and I'm seeing if he. Frank said that he could provide a Depth Devil for a giveaway. Frank, am I eligible to win that?
Mike, you're ineligible.
Hey, Gavin.
No, I just think it'd be cool.
We can give Bill away. Yeah, that'd be good. Gavin, when you if you have Skype, when you get your detectors back, I would love to do a show and you could talk about your Tesoros modded by Frank. I would love to do that show. And so Frank's in here. Anybody out there with Tesoros, if you want them modded, and believe me, you want them modded, get a hold of Frank Sanders, depthdevil.com. That's your guy. We had him on last week. If you didn't catch the show, go back and listen to it. He is a great guy. I've only heard good things. I have not heard a single negative thing. And what you hear is he does great mods at affordable prices. The mods work. I can't wait.
And not only that, Mike, and from your show last week, he knows the stuff. Like, he knows what he's doing. I mean, and he keeps, and what impresses me more is he's willing to challenge himself to try and figure out new things and new ways to do stuff that most people don't have that drive and ambition to do that kind of stuff these days.
Hey, Gavin, I would love to talk to you anytime, but I would like for you to be a guest on the show when you get those back. If you would be interested, I would love for you to call in. If you got Skype, we could do it through Skype, and you can tell us about the mods, how they work, and all that. I would love that. And again, I know people that listen. I know I repeat myself bad, Matt, and I do that about everything. But, you people out there, relic hunters and stuff, take a look at Tesoro. Don't discount Tesoros. They are great detectors. Absolutely amazing. And then
after listening to what Frank said, Mike, I'm back. I was off the Tesoro wagon a long time ago based on look, but I'm so super excited about some of the stuff that he's able to do with those modifications that I think I'm officially in on Tesoros these days.
Yeah, I see you getting one and sending it to Frank. I knew after having him on last week, I knew that was going to happen. I knew it.
That definitely is going to happen.
Yeah, you need a probably, I don't know, you need to talk to Frank and see which ones he can do the two-tone and the volume for the iron side, and that's what you need, because that'll make...
That's exactly where I need to be.
Yep, exactly. 'Cause
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, you're not going to find a better relic machine. Let me say relic machine so everybody can. Mark said he loves his wife's Mojave. Man, I want a Mojave. Frank, can you do those same kind of mods to a Mojave? I know you can add uh, a ground balance, a true ground balance, but could that be turned into a two tone and because I'll tell you what, that's a hot little detector. Everything I hear about it, that little Mojave. Yeah, relic machine. Everybody take a drink, jerks. I love how all of our guests are just mean to me. Sometimes they hurt my feeling.
Well, they just enjoy making fun of you. That's all.
Right, that's all.
Well, probably me as well too.
I'm pretty easy to make fun of. It's true. Um, yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know if Gavin heard me, but oh, I think he did. Okay, yeah, I'd love to have you on as a guest to talk about Tesoros, and I think Gavin's down in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. We could talk about some metal detecting down there and stuff,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, boy, if it wasn't for all
When
the
you-
spiders and snakes, and I'd love to go hunt for gold in Australia.
Hey, when you say Australia, the only thing I can think of is kangaroos. And then the next thing that comes to my mind, if anybody's not seeing this, do yourself a favor, go on YouTube. There's a video where a kangaroo's attacking a guy's dog, and the guy ends up standing face
I've
to
seen
face
it.
with this kangaroo, and
I've
he
seen it.
punches the kangaroo. Oh my! I am not probably the best video I've ever seen in my life. Completely off subject, but just yeah. Do yourselves a favor and check that out. Just type in "guy punch kangaroo." It'll be the first thing that comes up. Absolutely amazing.
Anytime I see a kangaroo on TV, I just want to hug it. Don't you want to hug them?
I know they look so friendly, and I always think of them as so friendly. And then I saw that video, and I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
that
this
thing's
thing's about to take this dog out of commission. And
about
yeah,
vicious.
that was crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, they've got spiders
Yeah,
there that like can carry mice around. Have you ever seen that video?
No, but well, I'm not a huge spider fan, although I did see a tarantula crossing an on-ramp to the highway one day in Ohio, which means technically someone let it out of their house. I mean, obviously there's
Yeah.
not tarantulas around here, but yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, no, not a
No,
fan.
I don't care to. I let spiders do their own thing. You know, my wife will say, "Oh, come get this spider." I'm like, "No, man," because that's when you take that spider out. Then his buddies come out at night and say, "Hey, he took Johnny out of commission. We're gonna go crawl up his nose or something at night, and who knows what they're gonna do." I just leave them be.
Right, all the snakes in Australia and oh man,
And man, that's
crazy.
not for me either.
Snakes
Keep
and
them snakes at
spiders.
home.
Mm-hmm. No thanks. All right, we're
You
off
gotta
the
go to
subject.
Ireland. There's no snakes. Oh, we're off subject.
I'm gonna give the number out one more time, and we'll see what comes about. I don't think nobody, and everybody's like, we don't feel like calling in and talking to Mike or Matt. 682-459-2977. If you got any questions, you want to talk to either one of us. I know a lot of people listen to the show after it's recorded. They'll listen to it the next day, this week. If you have questions about anything that we've talked about tonight, any other night, and you want to ask me, you can email me. Give me a call. You can call, email, whatever you want. Now, the number I'm giving out now is the Skype number. Don't call that because I don't monitor that. Matter of fact, I don't even have Skype up and running unless I'm doing a show. But my number is 937-414-4578. I kind of got a little scratchy there talking about that, so I'll say it one more time. 937-414-4578. If you got any questions about any of our shows, and anything, don't hesitate to give me a call. My email is allmetalmode@gmail.com. And of course, you can email me. And I do get emails now and then. I love it when people will say, you know, hey, I like the show, and um, I just love that. I love when somebody will do that, and please don't do that. But a lot of times it's like, hey, I have a question about this. Hey, I listen to the show. I love it, and that makes me feel really good. And. But hey, if you got suggestions, hey, whatever, and something else. While we're coming to the end of the show, I am always looking for guests. If you want to be a guest, you want to talk to me about being a guest, somebody that would be interesting. The only thing I ask is this. I've had a lot of suggestions for guests. I've reached out and they don't want to be a guest. They don't want to, or I can't get a hold of them. They don't accept friend requests, that kind of stuff. So reach out for me, please. The last time I put that out there in the All Metal Mode Facebook group, I had several people come up with names, and out of the five or six people, I was able to get a hold of one, and I had quite a bit of time trying to track these people down and get a hold of them, and nothing. So make sure that somebody wants to be on the show, or have them reach out to me. They can call me, they can email me, Facebook, whatever, and have them get a hold of me. But we're always looking for guests. Guests don't have to be well known. They don't have to have a bunch of years of experience. Somebody recently suggested that we have more guests that are newer to the hobby and don't have a lot of experience. I'm all for it. If you know that people like that, they're, I don't care if it's months, but they're already passionate about it, send them my way. If you've listened to the show long enough, we're not about, how popular somebody is, how big they're, how many subscribers on YouTube and stuff like that. We want to talk to anybody that's passionate about the hobby. And that doesn't mean that they've got 20, 30 years experience. That doesn't mean that they're an expert. If they can talk passionately about the hobby and what they do, we are all about it. So, and I want to say, through that whole conversation, I keep missing calls from somebody in Colorado, and I think I know who that is. You're calling my cell phone. If you want to call into the show, I can't answer my phone right now because I'm doing the show, but you can call into the show at 682-459-2977. If not, I can give you a call when we get off the show. And we'll wait a minute, see if nobody's got any questions. Come on, somebody ask something. Relic Machine. You know what? Matt, we need to start each show with me saying Relic Machine about 50 times so everybody gets good and drunk, loosened up.
So they get liquored up before the show starts, huh?
Well, not 50 because we want listeners, but we need, what's the deal?
Not a bad idea. No, that'll loosen everybody up. And funny you say that. I talked to a guy the other week, a guy I know, and unfortunately, he was a little hesitant to come on the show. He wanted to listen to some, podcasts first and stuff. And I think he felt like, I feel like he didn't want to give up any of his top secret spots or secrets or anything. And I'm like, no, dude, you're not going to have to. Like, we just want to hear. Tell us some of the stuff you found. I know he's found a ton of cool stuff.
Hold on real quick. Wayne, are you there? There's Wayne. Hey, Wayne, we're having some issues.
What's that?
There you are. Now we can hear you. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing super fantastic.
That's good. That's good.
Like I heard somebody say today, to the nth degree.
That's funny. That's funny.
Hey, you guys have been talking about dealers and buying equipment and everything.
Hmm.
You know, I saw a lot of mining equipment, and I have people come to me all the time, say they want a 4-inch dredge, or they want a 5-inch dredge, or they want.
Oh, where'd he go? Man, we're still having
Hey, Elizabeth?
Skype. Yeah, we're still having Skype issues. Let me see if I can call him back. Now he's not even in my list.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Don't know how we got you.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know.
Hmm.
He's back.
You know, I sell mining equipment, you know, because I'm a gold miner and everything, and treasure hunter and all that, so I sell everything. And, you know, you were talking about dealers trying to sell you stuff you don't need.
Mhm.
First thing I asked them, have you used one of these before? No? Okay. You could join a club, an organization, but I'm not going to sell one to you unless you go out and use one. Here's a machine. You know, I got Garrett's here and everything. Try this out, see how you like it. I'll explain to them, teach them how to use it. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to make a happier customer than if you sell them something they don't
Yes.
want or don't need.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. I agree with that. You know, and if you, in this day and age, is cutthroat and tough as it is, and so many good dealers, you better treat them right. I mean, you got to have repeat customers. And to do that, you
Right.
better go out of your way to make them happy. You know, because selling one detector to a customer doesn't work anymore. There's too many dealers. There's too much there's way too much competition. You better step up and bring your A game because they'll go find another dealer who will take care of them.
Well, I hate to tell you how many metal detectors I buy every year and how many gold prospecting pieces of equipment I purchase from people because they don't want to use it. They'll go out one time with that metal detector or 2 times. They get frustrated. Instead of throwing it up in the air and breaking it, they stick it in the back of their closet.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, they call me up and say, hey, do you want to buy a metal detector? You know, I bought a lot of Tosoro Super Lobos, great machines.
Hmm.
And, you know, I bought a lot of those over the years and everything, and gold dredges and high bankers and all kinds of equipment. And because, well, I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
I went
yeah.
to the international Winnebago show in Iowa, and I did a 2-week seminar, and everybody that owns a motorhome either has a gold pan or a metal detector in it. I found out.
Huh.
And I did seminars on metal detecting and gold prospecting and coin hunting and geocaching and dowsing. And it blew me away when I said, anybody's got a metal detector, I'll meet you here in 45 minutes. And we'll have a metal detecting hunt. If you don't know how to use it, bring it over and I'll teach you how to use it. You know, I had 5 people out of 20 that had metal detectors, still had them in the box, never even put the batteries in them.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I set them up and taught them how to use that metal detector.
Yeah.
So,
I miss not taking customers out. I haven't sold any local, but I always enjoyed that, especially somebody new to the hobby or you know, not familiar with the detector. I was selling them and teaching them and showing them. That was always fun to me, and I hope to eventually get some local customers that I can take out and show. Because that's you know, that's why I wanted. That's what I missed, and that's what I got back into it was talking to people. I've made so many friends by selling them equipment or just helping them out, you know, or explaining stuff to them or helping them, you know, and And I miss that. I miss that, taking them out and watching, sharing those first experiences with them and showing them how to, you can literally, and another thing I'll say, I said earlier, in this day and age with YouTube and everything, you don't really need a dealer. A dealer that can take you out or knows the detector, they can do so much more for you than what a video can do. Because if you're having specific issues, or videos can be helpful, but when you can pick up the phone and talk to somebody who can say, well, you need to do this, or you've got this setting wrong, or try this setting, it's a world of difference. Or if you can call them up and say, hey, when can we get out and you show me how to do this, or hey, I'm having this trouble, can we get together? Yeah, sure. I mean, I've got customers that, when I was a dealer in Ohio, that I'd take them out several times to teach them because they would have issues, and you can take so much of the learning curve off, and I always enjoyed that.
Right.
For sure.
I have a AT Gold, and I was having some problems with it. I mean, I wasn't familiar with the way the machine worked and all that. So I got on the phone and I called Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
And walked me through it. They said, okay, let's go back to factory settings. This is how you do it. Reset it back to factory. Okay, now push this button, push that button, and walk me through it. And I was in the field when I did that.
Oh, that's nice.
So, Garrett, and I know Tesoro does it too, and all these other companies. It's not unusual for them to walk you through a problem on your machine,
yeah,
and be able to help you. Hands-on is the best, like you say, and if you could get hands-on, even if the person didn't buy that machine from you, I know several dealers, oh, you didn't buy that machine from me, I'm not going to show you. Well, it's a Mind Lab, or it's a Garrett, it's this, or it's that. Well, I didn't sell it to you, so I don't have time for you. That's the kind of, that you're going to run that customer off. You spend 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever, with that customer, even though you didn't sell it to him, he's going to be your best friend, hunting buddy. And when you need something and you're a dealer or a representative, they're going to come to you first because, hey, this guy helped me. The other guy never did.
Right, right. Now, I would always take calls and I would help them even if they didn't buy it from me. But now something, and I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think everybody quite understands this. If you buy from John's Detectors, if you call me up for help, that's not my responsibility. Now hold on. As a good dealer, I'm going to walk you through it and help you out, but don't expect me to come to you and take you out metal detecting and show you how to use it. And that might sound like common sense to a lot of people, but I literally had people, hey, I bought I sold a lot of E-Tracks when I was in business. Hey, I bought my E-Track from Joe over in Indiana. When can you get together and take me out and teach me how to use it? And I would say, well, you need to get a hold of Joe from Indiana. I'll help you with any questions. But I don't have the time to drive an hour up to you to take you out and show you how to use your detector.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I always answered questions and helped him, but I literally had that happen on more than even a few times where, hey, I bought it from over here, I need you to come help me. And I had a guy that wanted me to drive over an hour to come show him how to use his detector, and I just thought, I don't know if this guy doesn't understand how this works or what, but I'm not going to take, I don't mean to sound rude, but I'm not going to spend my money and take time away from my customers that I need to take out and show them how to use detectors to come show you when you bought it from somewhere else.
Right.
But, even some local guys that were closer would come to me, I'd take them out. But, I'm going to tell you, it stings. It stings when they bought it from somebody else and you're the one that has to take them out and show them how to use it because the dealer they bought it from. Well, I mean, perfect example. two of the calls I got, they'd bought from a dealer that didn't metal detect, didn't take people out. You went to his little shop that was in town. There was nowhere to test them. And so they thought because I was local, I would take them out and spend the time with them and stuff. And although I would if they drive to me, I mean that's not my job. That's you need to, if you purchased it from Joe's Detector Shop, you need to go back to him for all your issues and questions and I hope that don't make me sound like a jerk.
Either that or the person should have came to you. I'm sure if they would have came down to you and met you at your wanted location, that you would have helped them.
Right. Yeah, I did. I would help them even if they come down to me and I didn't make the sale and they were struggling with a detector. But not most dealers aren't going to do that. I mean, I would suggest if you bought it from wherever you bought it from, you need to get help from them. It's
Right.
it would be like me going to McDonald's and going over to Burger King and having them fix it up how I want it, for free. It's you know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of what it's like. So yeah.
So,
What else you been into?
oh, not much. I am going to fly home next week. My mom's going to turn 84, and then a friend of mine's mom's going to turn 90, and we're just a couple days apart. I'm going to surprise everybody and fly home and show up for a couple of days out. Long enough where they can't talk to me staying.
That's funny.
And then in March, the weekend of March, or the week of March 13th, Watts has got a booth up at the Sportsman's Expo in Denver. And hopefully Gypsy could make it. I'm sure she's listening. We've invited her. We have Terry Carter coming and a couple other big-name treasure hunters, worldwide renowned. One guy was on the Anatosha dig with Mel Fisher. He's possibly coming out. So we're lining up all these superstars to come out to the show, and we expect between 20 and 25,000 people in 4 days to walk through the door.
Oh, wow.
So we'll
Did you know that Gypsy and I are only a few hours apart?
What, you were born on the same day?
No. She's down in southern Texas, and we're not that far. We're like 2 hours apart. I hope to meet up. Her and I talked her ear off on metal detecting the other day. Forever.
Wow.
She is passionate about metal detecting, and
she's an awesome lady.
I am so looking forward to having her as a guest. She's going to be our guest on the 10th, I want to say. Let me look. The 10th. Yeah, I'm really excited because she is passionate about metal detecting, and I so enjoyed our conversation the other day. I had a great time talking to her. Hey, Matt, can you do me a favor? I don't know if you're in a place. Can you watch the chat? My chat is not working on my end. Just
Sorry,
to
can I what?
Can you watch chat? See if anything comes up, any questions or anything. Are you in a place you can do that?
Yeah, just give me 1 sec.
Let me see if I can pull it. When I just tried to pull it up, we were having some issues, but I can't get it through my. I can't get it through my desktop like I usually do. So just make sure no questions come up. What's the Bill? Wayne, I'm sorry. Bear with us here a minute. Bill Marsh asked, "Are you going to mention the Watts membership giveaway to me? What's that about?"
Well, if you want to do a giveaway, we'll give you a Watts membership to give away to one of your lucky listeners. And I would do it to your loyal listeners, not to your newbies.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, that's why I haven't really gotten into giving stuff away. I don't want to inflate our numbers by giving stuff away. And we do. We have a really loyal group that I feel like those are the people that deserve that stuff. So yeah, let's talk. I would love that. And hey, do you know Frank? Frank Sanders?
What's that?
Do you know Frank Sanders who does the Tesoro mods?
Not offhand.
We
I
had
probably know him. I know so many people in the world, it's hard to
Yeah.
remember who's who. When you're walking down the streets of Nome, Alaska, and somebody yells across the street, "Hey, Nugget Brain!" You're in Nebraska, in the Walmart shopping center, camping overnight, you're waiting to get the permit, and you're walking to the bathroom, and people are stopping you to talk to you.
Oh man, you're famous, famous. Frank Sanders is here in Texas. He does Tesoro mods, and we had him on last week, and what a great guy, man. He and the mods he's doing are pretty incredible.
I listened to the show.
What's that?
I listened to the show, and it was awesome, the things that he can do with them. Do you know that Keith Wills was one of the main designers to design a metal detector for deaf people?
Really? Who?
Keith Wills with East Texas Metal
Oh,
Detectors.
East Texas. Yeah, he's a. I've heard really good things about him. He's the guy. He also works on detectors, correct?
He's the only authorized dealer for every single metal detector in the country, but he doesn't touch Mine Labs because he can't get parts.
Okay.
He's got every single manual, every single repair guide, shop guide, and factory guide, and he has parts like you wouldn't believe on the shelves. What he does is when, let's say, Bounty Hunter quits making a particular machine, he goes in and buys all their dead stock, and then he puts it in his. Does the same thing with Whites and the same thing with Garrett and all the major metal detectors. He buys all their manuals, all their shop factory manuals and everything. And he's got, if you ever get a chance, go over to his shop. He's over in Gilmore. It'll blow you away what that man has in there. You wouldn't believe everything that he has. And in fact, the manufacturers will call up Keith and say, "Hey, Keith, I need this part." So he's got to go find it in his bins, and he could ship it to them for their repair facilities.
Oh, that's
or he
amazing.
just says, "Something to me, I'll fix it."
Hmm.
He's probably, I would say, close to 5,000 metal detectors in his shop.
Oh, Lord, I need to take a trip. We're not that far. Oh,
I
that's
bet you he's got 3 sheds full of metal detectors stacked up. Like you wouldn't believe.
I talked to him a long time ago, well, months ago. Have you got around to asking him about being a guest? I'd love to have him on sometime.
I have discussed it with him. He will be with you. I would like everybody to say some prayers. He went through a major operation on Friday, and I talked to him this evening, and he's got to go back in for another operation. They found another problem. He's got some neck issues, so they have to go back into his neck and work on his neck, because otherwise he won't be able to walk. They got a pinched nerve or something. So just say some prayers for Keith, but he should be up and around in about 2 weeks. But he does have a full-time technician that works in the shop when he's not there.
Oh, nice.
So you can call him.
That's great.
So, but I will talk to him, and we'll also talk, well, Gypsy's coming on. And then Jim Fiat, he's a major treasure hunter. And I got Joey Wilson over in California. He's a gold prospect. He has a gold prospecting store. He's going to be on Ed and the Shed on Tuesday night. And then I also have Terry Carter, who is a big treasure hunter. And right now he's chasing down the Egyptian treasures in the United States. And also the giant people. He's working, well, they're hand in hand, both of those. So he's working on those right now.
On the
But he's
giant,
also making giant people.
yeah, like the
It's
Giants of Ohio and stuff.
Right.
I got
He's
you.
working
Yeah.
on it relates to the Egyptian population that was here in the United States back thousands of years ago. So
Interesting.
he's a,
That
I
is
got
very-
probably 50 people we could have on your show if you want to do a year's worth of shows.
I struggle to get guests sometimes. I mean, I'll reach out and I won't hear back, or I'll reach out and they're not interested. They don't want to be on the podcast. You know, they're nervous. So yeah, I so appreciate you hooking me up with Gypsy. I am already looking forward to that. Like I said, we had just a great person to talk to about metal detecting, and the passion, man. She is passionate about it, and I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, for sure. So good things, good things coming. Yeah, help me get guests. Anybody out there, you know, and I'll say this again. I say it quite a bit. It doesn't have to be somebody famous. It doesn't have to, you know. Passion is very important to me, and that's the biggest thing. You don't have to look. People say my voice isn't made for radio or whatever. I have a horrible voice. I do this because I'm passionate. I love talking metal detecting. I say a lot, like I just did. I mean, I'm not a speaker. It's just the passion. So. And I would like to get some people newer to the hobby that tell us their experiences and their experiences so far. So,
Well, you and I could talk later on this week, and we'll see what I can hook you up with.
I would love that, Wayne. I appreciate that so much. For sure.
All right, I know you got other guests that are trying to come, so let everybody else call in. God bless everybody. Have a great evening and enjoy the show, and be back every week. Don't forget to hit that little like button before you leave tonight, and have a great time.
Oh, thank you so much, Wayne. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling in, too.
All right, thank you.
Wayne.
Okay, bye.
He cracks me up, though. He said, I know people are waiting. Nobody's calling in. Nobody ever calls
Hey, I got
us.
some questions from the chat, though. They're saying you're selling used detectors.
Do we got to go there? Do we really got to go there? Okay, I'm gonna settle this real quick. If you were in last week, I had quick words with one of our guests, and then I banned them. And here's the story. Years ago, I had this guy contact me. He wanted a metal detector. I had one in stock. He had to have it right then. He wanted to meet halfway, which was about a 3-hour drive. I ended up driving almost 2.5 hours. We did not meet in the middle. I still drove it. I took him out, set up his new detector that had the warranty card and everything in it. Showed him how to use it. This guy would call me. It was nothing for the first few months to call me 2-3 times a day, sometimes 3-4 times a week, 5 times. Now look, I don't mind. I love helping the customer. But this guy wasn't so friendly. And he kept wanting me to meet up with him. He wanted me to drive up to him and meet up with him. And I said, I can't do that. I can't drive 3 hours and show you. If you want to come down here, if you want to meet close to here, I will meet you. This went on for almost a year. I guess this falls right in line with what the show was about tonight. Excuse my language, but this guy was the biggest pain in the ass. I will go as far to say, and I mean this, I have never had a customer that I didn't get along with, that I wasn't excited to hear from, I would say on average, when I sell a detector to somebody that they've never used it, I would take them out, or I'd take people out 2, 3, 4 times. I might get 10 calls from them in the first 2 weeks, and that is my job, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But this guy was just the thorn in my side. Well, this was like 5, 6 years ago. I sold him this detector, brand new detector. In the last like 6 months, maybe the last year, somebody said, 2 different people have said, so and so said you sold them a bad used detector. Now, how can I sell you a used detector with the warranty card in it, ready to be filled out? He watched me unseal the box. I didn't even unseal the box, and I should have. I should have checked it. What would have happened if I'd have got up there and it didn't turn on? He knows better, and that's where the drama came in last week. I work too hard. I love what I do way too much to not respond to something like that. Don't lie about that. That really bothered me. And so I confronted him in the chat. I had to do it. I am sorry, Frank. Frank Sanders was our guest, and I wouldn't have banned him, and we would have had it out, but I had a guest. But at the same time, he doesn't come listen that often. Now he's banned. I don't want him in here, and so that's that. And hey, I got it off my chest. I hope you guys understand. It made me feel really good that after a couple people reached out, I reached out to one person. One person messaged me right away, right during it, and I contacted them after the show, and they told me more about him, and then through the week, a couple other people. So the good thing is people know how he is. And but don't mess with my reputation when it's not true. I was just absolutely offended by that, and you might not like me, and that's okay. I don't care if somebody doesn't like me or they I'm okay with stuff like that. Or maybe they didn't like the customer service I gave them, but they're honest about it. I'm okay with that because I give 110%, but don't lie. That really bothered me because I've made a lot of friends through the hobby, and I love what I do. Just don't lie, So that's where that drama came from. Drama. There's your drama, Greg. There you go. Gave you the drama. But yeah, I felt bad for Frank. Frank, if you wouldn't have been on our guest, I would have I'm glad you were on, because I would have just let him have it. I was so upset. I've been upset for a long time over that, and then he showed up in chat, and I thought, well, probably won't see him again, so yeah. Matt, stay out of the chat. You're on the phone with me. You don't need to be talking in. I got chat going now. I got chat working again, so I'm good. You can get out of there.
Okay, so.
Real quick, one more time. This show went way longer than I thought it would. I'll give out the phone number one time. If nobody calls in, we'll call tonight. But hey, if you want to call in, please feel free. 682-459-2977. I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping we'd get some calls about, dealer questions and what to look for and different things. I mean, a great show. I've had fun, but I was hoping there'd be some questions, maybe some newbies or something.
Well, yeah, you don't always get what you want, but yeah, that's all right.
Right, yeah. Well, the thing is, we have our, something else that Wayne said is, your dedicated listeners and stuff. We have a lot of dedicated listeners that can't tune in on Monday nights, and so that's hard to do a giveaway. I know people that listen in each week, but they can't do it Monday nights, or they listen in weeks. So we'll have to figure out a way to do some contests. Think about that, Matt. How we can do some contests and stuff, and I'm all about.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, and like I said, I didn't want to throw that out there if it was something you were opposed to, but I think maybe every once in a while, and get some of your dedicated listeners involved with that, and like it'd be cool to have something, every now and again.
Yeah, I agree, and we don't have to announce it when we put the word out there that we're doing when we're doing the show and stuff. Maybe if we're gonna do it, let's just kind of do it secret, and every once in a while we'll give something away, and we won't announce it or anything. So yeah, good times. Good times. I'm checking the chat, see if we got anything else. Okay, I don't know if we got any more questions or not. Chat's going crazy, but nobody's calling in. Come on, man. Somebody call us. Matt's bored. Somebody call up with a question to Matt. Anything. 682-459-2977. I'm only giving it a few more seconds, and then we're calling it a night. Fine. Nobody wants to call and talk to us. Ooh, why are they putting his email out there? I feel like we're missing out sometimes when we can't be in chat all the time. A tone control. That's interesting. Who's saying call Gypsy? Let's not be giving Gypsy's number out for everybody to call. That might not be a good thing. Thanks, Gypsy. Gypsy said, great show, Mike. I appreciate that, Gypsy. That's great. Jim, I was just kidding. I don't know what a lid is, but I do believe it is related to marijuana sales, and I believe it's an eighth. I don't know why we're talking about marijuana in a metal detecting podcast, but it happens. My girls, Peyton and Stephanie, said, use your Facebook account and post for like a week. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're saying. Aw. And y'all have to look at Peyton and Stephanie and the picture. I guarantee they just took that. That's my girls and my little boy. Take a look at that. Look at that handsome little guy. He looks like his daddy. Oh, Jim said he was talking about the marijuana because it was a dealer question. Hey, Greg, if you go way back in the archives, I had Little Pepe on the podcast. You got to go way back to the beginning. I told her if she wants on again, she's got to go metal detecting with me more. She's got to be able to talk about metal detecting. To tell you guys how lucky... Matt, are you still there? Did you fall asleep? I think he left. I think he's just like, I am pretty tired of Mike's voice, and don't even have Skype up, so I think I lost him somehow. But if you go back through my Facebook somewhere, I have a picture of Steph metal detecting with our little boy in a wrap. She's got little Randy attached to her. That's what kind of awesome woman I got. Well, I guess we'll call it a night. I don't even have Matt. He's gone. Okay, so yeah, hold on, guys. I've got. Yeah. You there? Oh, why is my computer making noises? Who we got? Is this Matt?
No, this is Frank.
Oh, how's it going, Frank? I thought Matt was calling back in.
Good.
Some Skype shut down.
Actually, you said to ask Matt a question. Had he ever used a Tesoro before?
No, he has not. He has not. He's missing out, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I wasn't quite sure if he had used one or not, and that's what I wanted to call in to find out. Yes, he's absolutely missing out, because I know I'd listened this evening and partial last week, his comments saying that he was interested and possibly going to jump on the Tesoro bandwagon, and he definitely needs to.
I agree. He lives up in northeast Ohio, surrounded by farm fields, where old houses were, and no better than with a Tesoro.
No, especially when they plow those fields. That's a gold mine of artifacts and all kind of antiquities up there. You definitely need the Tesoro.
For sure.
But I also wanted to tell you, I've got, when you get a chance, and I'll try to get one together and send to you, I've got a tone control that you can use with your headphones. It does not require a battery, and it allows you to take the pitch. For example, a single tone Tesoro, you can adjust the pitch from 300 hertz to 1200 hertz and adjust the pitch higher or lower depending on where you want. It does not require a battery.
Really?
Yes.
That is interesting.
Had ordered some more. The chip that it uses, they're discontinued. You have to pretty much buy those overseas now. They're just as rare as hen's teeth. But I will put together one and send to you and let you see what you think. But yeah, you can adjust. It takes no battery. And I'm actually going to put them in, because what I'm going to do, and I think I had told you before, I'm going to take at some point a compadre that I've got, that's mine that I've had for a while, and I'm actually going to put the compadre inside headphones, so the headphones will be the metal detector.
I think that's
control in.
Yeah, I think that is brilliant. That is a great idea. Talk about lightweight. And that would make a perfect little field hunter, because I'm telling you, when you're walking in fields all day and hitting those corn stalks and everything else, the lighter the better. The better.
Yeah, it is, and I hope to have, because what really does good for the headphones that I'm going to use, I need a bigger area inside the headphones, is the earmuffs. Like for hearing protection, you can buy like a Harbor Freight. That reduce noise. They're kind of really, really big on the inside, but that's fine. That gives a lot more room. But yeah, hope to use those, and would like to be able to get a connector on those if there's enough room left over, instead of straight to the coil, to where you could change coils on the headphones instead of just Padres, just straight wired.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. He's Matt, you just missed it. Hey, for everybody tuning in, we're still figuring out some Skype issues here and stuff. We lost Matt because Skype just completely went away. I didn't shut it down. I don't know what happened. We've got him back. We've got Frank on the line. He's talking about putting a compadre into a pair of headphones.
Well, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah, there's enough room,
cool.
and it's something I've wanted to do for a while. which pretty much probably the majority of the UMAX series could go into the headphones. We just have to have the room for it. But that's something I wanted to do for a while. I thought that would be really neat, to where you would have nothing, but just the rod and the coil, and everything would be right there in the headphones.
Yeah, that
That
sounds
sounds
We'll
awesome.
see how that turns out.
How-
But yeah, the
now, how
tone
would your,
control. The what?
I'm sorry. How would your power source then would still be where?
That would also that would either be in the headphones. There's some choices for that, either in the headphones or under the arm cuff. Because what I'd thought about doing was putting a little. You can buy them online. They're little 9-volt battery holders, and putting that under the arm cuff. You can set those with Velcro or whatever, because they don't weigh anything. They're just little plastic 9-volt battery holders. And using a cable that's big enough to also supplement to run up, or if there's room in the actual headphones in that area to put the 9-volt, but probably just use the 9-volt battery holder under the arm cuff.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
then
like
power
a,
it from there.
Now let me tell you this, Matt. The Compadre is their most affordable detector, Tesoro's most affordable detector. Don't hold me to it, but somewhere around $160. The first time I ever seen one in action was field hunting. A lady had never swung a detector in her life, and she's walking along. My buddy told her, here's where we set the discrimination, just above iron, just at iron. And if it beeps each time you swing over it, dig it. And we were in heavy iron. She, a little bit of chatter, but it was noticeably chatter and not a signal. And she would get a hit. She dug a button, I think 2 buttons and an Indian within probably 15, 20 minutes. Though even, and that's my point. Even a Compadre at $160 is a heck of a field detector. I mean, when you're talking iron, man, that thing can handle iron like you wouldn't believe. And it comes with a really, what isn't that a 7-inch coil, Frank?
The standard, I believe, was a 5 3/4 inch coil, 5.75 inch, really small coil.
Okay.
And they're wonderful machines. They really are.
Mm-hmm. It's got a small coil, but when you're working in that iron, you're looking for a small coil. But you can also buy coils for those and stuff. I mean, and that's just, they're just great detectors. Absolutely fantastic detectors. And good times. Yeah, Frank, that's awesome.
Probably one of the best. That's probably one of the very best sellers that Tesoro's had in a long time was the Compadre, because they really, for the size and for just a turn on and go machine and the price, they're hard to beat. They really are. That would be my recommendation for somebody that wanted to get into metal detecting. If they weren't interested or had too much concern for a VDI or target ID, would be the Compadre, especially for the weight, because you can swing those babies all day long, and they don't tire your arm.
Right. And but I mean, just in field hunting, Matt, I'm telling you, they'll get the job done in that heavy iron, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you can't. It's hard to imagine a $160 detector will do what it can do in that iron. And that's what I love about the Tesoros. That they just, man, in that iron they get it done. And when you get one of those done, when you're ready to do that, Frank, I gotta know, because I will have to have one of those.
Yeah, me too.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, I'm going to have not extra time, but my wife, she's a nurse, and she's getting ready to do, I think I'd mentioned she's going to be a travel nurse for 13 weeks. So it'll just be me here by myself with my lab and 2 cats, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I can't cook, so it may go all to hell in a handbasket pretty quick. I guess I'll be eating pizza fairly regularly.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And like I say, that's a couple weeks. I've got some other stuff trying to get done right now. But yeah, I want to do the compadre, or, really pretty much any of the UMACs should fit inside of the headphones, because they're all basically the same size anyway.
Right.
But start with a compadre, and because like for Gavin's, on his compadre, I brought the sensitivity, the ground balance out to the front, added a secondary disc, and I'm working on a threshold for the compadre, because there is an option. You can have a threshold just to get it to where it's not too erratic. But yeah, the threshold, and because it doesn't have an all metal, and then the threshold would really be something good to be able to ground balance it.
Oh,
because
yeah,
what
yeah.
most people were using to begin with the ground balance, when they brought the ground balance out to the front, they were using a piece of ferrite and ground balancing the ferrite, because ferrite is actually kind of like pure ground, which you don't have anyway. But yeah, they were using a piece of ferrite to ground balance with, but with a threshold that would negate the need for the piece of ferrite, and you could actually just use the threshold like you would on any regular ground. I don't know about you, Mike, but these Texas mosquitoes I'm setting outside are terrible.
Yeah.
And I just learned that here at the hospital they just got a case of West Nile virus, so it's probably not the best me setting out of here
Right.
with mosquitoes all around. Hopefully I don't catch anything, but hey,
Yeah, don't
we'll
catch
see how
it.
that goes.
Hey, real quick,
No.
I got
Sure.
a couple questions. Now, you're talking about a threshold. Now, would that be a constant threshold? So, like, would you be able to hear the iron coming through, like if you were in a field hunting, or
You
whatever
can,
underground?
The threshold would have a toggle to where you can turn it on or off, and also probably have just a small volume control to where you can turn that up or down. Because personally, I like a threshold, some noise. I mean, the Tesoros being silent detectors on several of mine, because you can have what a threshold is just system generated noise. That's all it is. A threshold is noise that's generated by the circuit,
Mm-hmm.
and they use an op-amp chip to amplify it. So that's all that is just system generated noise. And because I put a threshold not on all of them, but like the Outlaw that I had, it had threshold in all metal, but I like a threshold in discrimination. So I added the threshold in discrimination as well, because I like some noise. But yeah, that would have a toggle. You could turn it on or off, and have the volume control to where you could turn the threshold up or down. Because the threshold really, really helps in discrimination mode for very, very deep targets. 'Cause
Yes.
if you go slow, you can hear that slight warble, so to speak, or disturbance in a threshold that you can't hear without it.
Right. Well, it also, like when we're field hunting, relic hunting, that it's nice to know what kind of ground you're in, what's going on in the ground. So when you're running, I mean, if that works like say an E-track where it's a constant hum, but you got iron discriminated out, but it'll still break the threshold. Would it do that?
Yes. I don't know if it will for these. I doubt it. But now I will tell you, I don't know if you've ever used one, but one of the very best machines, if you like to hunt in iron, is a TR, an older transmit receive, and I'll tell you why. They can do something that a GLF cannot. An old transmit receive from the 70s, and one of the very best was the Compass 77B. They didn't have hardly any depth, 4 inches, 5 inches max maybe. But the one thing they could do is they would actually ignore iron, and for that reason, what I mean is you could take a dime, put it on the ground, take a handful of nails and throw literally over the top of that dime, and that TR would ignore the iron, and you could pop out that dime all day long. And it's just the way the circuit's designed. Now they didn't have a disc, they had no discrimination, but they really would see through iron, and that's no joke. They had hardly any depth whatsoever, but as far as being able to see through iron, can't beat them. They would see through a handful of nails and get the coin underneath every time.
Wow, that's interesting. 77D, huh?
77B. B is in boy. A Compass 77B. Now, most of the machines, because they went from BFO, beat frequency oscillator, to a TR, most all of the TRs would do that, would see through iron, but that Compass 77B, it's a kind of a lunchbox size green.
Yeah.
But they were really, really good at seeing through iron. There should be a couple of videos possibly on YouTube, but those are really, really good machines for hunting in iron. Absolutely. They'll see through the iron, and any good target underneath will come right through.
Hey, Matt, this is, we had Frank on last week, and he's calling in now. What I'm hearing is by the time he's done with my Outlaw, it's going to be in a suitcase kind of box with all these awesome mods. Do you hear all the here's new mods he's talking about
I'm thinking by the time I'm done, I'm going to have like 1,000 Tesoros that are modded out.
Right, one for each different thing. Yeah, you're getting me excited.
Actually did. You had Tex Kinsey on a couple weeks ago. Do you remember him? George Kinsey.
Oh yeah. I've had George on a couple times.
Yeah, he actually bought. I had modded. It was last year. I put an Outlaw into a case. It was different, and sold it to him. And he really enjoyed it. But yeah, George is a good guy, and he is as far as buttons and relics, George really knows his stuff. He's a super nice guy.
You're not kidding. We really like him, and he's got a lot of experience. Real quick, I know you're probably wanting to get off here and quit getting ate up by the mosquitoes. Are you familiar with the Compass pinpointer that was out in the early '80s? Bill Marsh is asking.
I actually almost bought one of those. I kind of am familiar with them. There was one available, and I'm back inside. I said, "The heck with outside. I'm back in the air conditioning."
Okay,
but yeah,
good.
There was one for sale on the Treasure Depot, I believe it was, and the guy also ended up taking it on eBay. I do remember those, and I almost bought it just to see take it apart inside, but I did not.
We lost you,
Sorry,
Frank. There you are. Okay.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yep, we're here.
Hello? Oh, okay. My earbuds died. Sorry, my earbuds died.
No
but
problem.
yeah, I almost bought one. I know a little bit about them, not very much. But yeah, I had saw that and was going to buy it, but I ended up passing it up. But yeah, they had one, and from what I had read, it was a decent pinpointer. I don't think it got much depth, but yeah, they did have them. And one of the great engineers, you don't hear much about him, who was really the designer for Compass, was John Earl, who's actually one of the chief designers. I believe he's in his late 70s, but he still works at White's Electronics. And he was the engineer behind Compass's Verifilter back during the 80s, when Compass had some of the best VLF machines for the gold scanner, the Compass gold scanner. He was the designer of those, and I believe he may have been part of the design team for that pinpointer.
Wow, that's interesting. That is so
Compass
cool.
Compass lasted until about 94, and then the company had a mysterious fire, and afterwards they just never recovered. But yeah, John still works for White's, and talking to him, White's actually 2 years ago, they had problems. They actually fired their entire management team and hired all new management.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't know, talking to a friend of mine, vice president of marketing and sales 2 years ago, Tim at First Texas Products, they actually went to White's in 2014, I believe it was, and First Texas was going to buy White's. The reason that they didn't succeed is because Kenneth White and his wife Mary were going through a divorce, and Kenneth White's wife Mary did not come to a conclusion. But yeah, that would have been something. But yeah, First Texas was actually going to buy White's Electronics.
Wow.
So that was interesting, and and I'm sure you remember it was a year or two ago when First Texas come out and they had the $499 special for the original T2, the green T2.
Yep.
The reason they had that special was because they had a backstock of 10,000 of those.
Oh my goodness.
At one time I was talking to Carl Moreland, their engineering manager, and Tim. They were going to redo the Technetics Mark I, which I had done a lot of modifications to, and they wanted to take the modifications that I had done and put it into those and rebrand them as a new Mark I. It didn't come to fruition, but yeah, they had 10,000 of those backstock, and that's why they had the $499 special. And I said, wow, who would have known that they would have had that many still left over?
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, they just had another deal like that. Last couple months, I seen something about the green T2 on sale. Is that what you're talking? You're talking longer than a couple months ago, aren't you?
Yeah, the first time they had it, I want to say it was a year and a half ago, and they may have. They're getting ready actually to come out with the Manta. It's a PI machine that was designed by a French physicist, Alexander. I don't remember his last name, but he actually designed the machine. And I had spoken with Carl before we moved. They flew him over here, bought the rights to the machine, hired him, and they're coming out. It's supposed to be a really, really good beach PI machine. We'll see. I'm not much into pulse machines. They're, for relics and depth, I mean, they are really good, but the Manta is supposed to be one heck of a machine, so hopefully we will see.
Have you heard anything about a new coin relic detector?
From First Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I believe, a little over a year ago, 2 years ago, there was some leaked information from I don't know if it was a dealer meeting that they have. They had it was codenamed Mosca, that they were supposed to have. And I do know that they were planning, because Tim told me that 2 years ago, that they were planning a dual frequency machine or multi-frequency machine. I don't know if that would be an extension of the Fisher CZ6 that they had, which is really a good machine. It was a 5 and 15 kilohertz, but yeah, they were planning on coming out with another multi-frequency machine, and that just, was supposed to come out early 2018, I believe, but things get pushed back. But I have not heard anything else besides that, other than, like I say, the first one it came out was supposed to be codenamed Mosca, and I don't know if that was actually going to be the detector's name. But yeah, haven't heard anything else since, and because they come out with a Patriot and a couple other smaller machines here a while back, which I wasn't too enthused with, but they got to pay the bills somehow.
Yeah, right. Now, does Tim still work for them? Because I seen he recently moved to Colorado, I believe, right?
Yeah, he and his wife, Annie. It was funny because when I went to visit him, it was 2016, I believe. He lives in Mansfield. I went over and smoked some Cuban cigars. He's a really nice guy. His wife, Annie, was playing World of Warcraft. And that was unusual for him to see somebody their age, because I believe he's 58 and his wife was just going to town. But
they had a summer place in Colorado City, and yeah, because I talked to him, it's not been too long ago, and he moved up there because, in which he still works for them, because like Carl Moreland, they're the engineering manager. He actually lives outside of Sweet Home, Oregon, Corvallis, Oregon, and he stays 2 weeks in El Paso. They bought a nice place for him to stay. He stays 2 weeks in El Paso, then goes home to Corvallis for 2 weeks.
Oh,
So,
I see. I
yeah,
see.
Tim still works for him. He makes good money, and I guess he liked it in Colorado City because it's really beautiful up there. And where he lived in Mansfield was really pretty, but I think the Colorado City area really was to his liking more so.
Well, I knew he moved. I just didn't know if he retired or still worked with him. But I don't know Tim very well, but I have had a conversation with him and stuff. Very nice guy. Very, very nice guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
he's very well traveled.
Is he?
Oh, he's traveled literally all over the world. And I told him, I said, more power to you. I've been on one airplane, and that'll be it for the rest of my life. I don't do airplanes, no thank you. But he's been all over the world. I mean, the number of countries and places that he's been to is amazing. And, he's a very, very nice guy, really is. Tim's amazing.
Yeah, he is. I agree with that. What little I know of him, he was nothing but just a great guy. But guys, I think it's about time to end the show. I get tethered to my computer, and I gotta use the men's room. That's how we usually end the show.
I'm going to do the same. I think my wife and I are going to watch a movie.
Oh, nice. That's great. Did we lose Matt again? Matt, did you fall asleep or?
No, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm just listening.
I didn't know if we have more Skype problems. Frank, thank you for calling in. Anytime, and we will definitely talk again soon, and we'll have to get you on again. I enjoy talking to you, and
No problem, my friend. And I'll give you a call maybe later this week about the tone control I was telling you about, and let you know more about that, and maybe try to send you some pictures through email.
Yeah, I would love that. Please do that when you got time this week, and for sure. Bill says, great call, Frank. I agree. We enjoy having you on. I hope we can get you some business. I know you will. I know we'll get you some, because me and Matt will definitely be sending you stuff before long.
I'm definitely interested. So,
Hey,
sure.
I'll be right here, because my life is pretty much since we moved here in San Angelo and got a house. I've got a room, and that's pretty much where I stay from 7 in the morning till, 4 or 5, maybe sometimes 6 at night. And I enjoy what I do. Wouldn't want to do anything else.
That's great. That's great to hear, Frank. All right, guys, let's wrap it up and call it a night. Get a hold of me later this week, Frank, and I'd love to see that.
My friend.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, buddy.
We'll see you guys.
Good night. Whoa, there you have it. I think that might be a new record. We're going on 2 hours and 43 minutes. So, I'm more out, but man, we get to talking about metal detecting. Sometimes it's hard to stop, and I know people probably. I can't believe some of you are still hanging in. I appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in and listening. I'm sure the people that will be listening this week at work and stuff will be like, oh my God, what's Mike blabbing about now? So anyhow, appreciate you tuning in, and everybody have a good night. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
The All Metal Mode podcast is sponsored by Digger's Den. If you are looking for a metal detector, get in touch with Mike or Brian. Together, they have years of experience with many different brands and models. They also truly enjoy what they do. You can contact them through Facebook at Digger's Den, visit the website at dddetectors.com, or give Mike a call. He makes it sound like it's so hard raising our boy, but trust me, he has time. 937-414-4578.